couple of years ago, a new digital pinball table came out by at Games. I think it was called the Legends Pinball. They had like a few hundred tables. It was, a decent price, decently sized. So I bought that thinking that would scratch my itch of one day owning a real physical pinball machine. Then the itch to actually own a real big physical one came back. Then I wound up going to a local pinball convention in Pennsylvania and came home with a small cocktail table sized pinball machine. It was small, but was thinking, all right, this will scratch the itch of having, a real pinball machine with all the real bells. And it did for a few weeks. So less than a month later, I wound up buying a full-size Godzilla pinball machine. So on this, I have a handful of tables that I marked as my favorites, which, it's nice when you're navigating hundreds of tables on here. It makes it easy to go to the ones that I most enjoy playing. One of the ones in particular that I like is Attack from Mars. This is a digital recreation of a real physical table. You basically just hit the start button twice, wait a few seconds, it'll start the game up. It's got a fake coin door on the bottom. You could drop a quarter in if you're trying to have some fun. I like the Martian theme. In the real physical one, these little green guys are little like figures that are like shaken on there. I did release a game last year on this thing called the Infinity Game Table. It's like a 32-inch touchscreen table, basically. I made this game called Galactic Grab that, you're basically all huddled around the table. I think it supports up to 4 players. And you're moving like your little character, which is like a star, around the table, and you're trying to capture things. And you could tap to basically bump other people away from you so you can grab things or bump them into items that take away their points. You could, give them a real shove too, since you're all in close proximity. I got to release that on my own, so that was a fun little thing. Then this is kind of like my secondary command button that I use over here because it's easy to reach, and I added a whole bunch of commands with like just one hand to be able to move windows around, do some other window management, slide it around, make it big, make it just like the center third. So this helps me a lot to manage on like the ultra wide screen without having to like grab the mouse and drag things around like you would normally have to do. But I still try to minimize how many times my hand has to move around. When I first got it, I was amazed with the software because they have the training tools out there. They could show you like a heat map of what buttons you're using, which helped me to be able to decide, all right, I'm using these, I'm typing these a lot. These will probably be, the most comfortable to use. Or, I say, all right, I'm not using this one. Can I find a reason, a function for this button that'll, start to force me into using that and making full use of it? Over time, I've just kind of settled into stuff and haven't changed it too much lately. But when I first got it, it was probably like twice a day I was changing something, adding like a hold or, a new layer. So the next one I want, once I find room for it, is gonna be a Twister pinball machine. I think it's from the 90s. So like when the Twister movie came out back then, they had a pinball machine that came out right around it. It's a ton of fun. It has a fan on top of it that blows at you to give you, the simulation of, hey, there's a tornado. And it's such a unique, cool way that like really fits the theme. So that's my next like machine that I want. I've been keeping an eye out to like see if any are available. There was one at the pinball convention or expo that I went to. I've played it a handful of times, really enjoy it, love the theme. If I had plans to come home with a pinball machine, that probably would have been it. This year, there really wasn't a chance of me coming home with a surprise pinball machine. Everyone was with me the last day of the pinball event stuff. There was no way we were sneaking that home. I think being able to customize the firmware is just the most useful, to be able to set, hey, I want this button here, or I want this button plus this button to do some specific function. I don't think I could really live without it comfortably. Like, I just absolutely dread when I got to take my laptop and go work somewhere and just have that plain old boring keyboard.